Getting to the top of the hour. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And we call this webinars, but I really want to make it more of a chat discussion. It is what it is. My main goal with this chat discussion is to talk about what it has been in my experience and our team experience working on immigration matters with under various administrations and help you all prepare depending on what happens in a few weeks. So with that said, my name is Giselle Carson. I am a corporate immigration and compliance attorney. I have the privilege of doing this for many, many years and still doing it because of the passion that I have for the impact that we can make in the world and in our clients. I am going to be covering the past and the present and the future of immigration landscape, what it has been during the first term of Trump's administration, what it has been during the Biden administration, what are the two kind of main proposals on immigration, and then looking ahead. As always, I am going to be asking you, I know that you're all very busy, so I'm grateful that you're taking the time to be here with me. As much as you can, stay here with me. I am also going to be asking you questions in the chat, so hopefully you can converse with me a little bit so that I feel that I'm not alone on this side of the screen. So, and with that also said, as you know, every case is unique. So this is my legal hat, basically saying, if you have a specific case, reach out. So this is all kind of general information for all of you. I have started doing something a little different because I know it is so, I'm so grateful that you take the time to come in and join me. That we have been now doing a giveaway for those of you that are here live with me. So at the end, Danny will do a raffle and we will announce the winner. And you're going to get a signed copy of my book, Beyond the H-1B. And by the way, I'm working on another one right now that is called the Corporate Immigration Advantage. You are going to hear more about that because it is an advantage to be able to hire and have the mindset that foreign workers, especially talented, skilled foreign workers, add a significant value, short-term and long-term, to our economy, to our employers' businesses. So with that in mind, the Corporate Immigration Advantage book will be coming out next year. So stay tuned for more information. Okay, so as I was preparing for this presentation, I went back in time and I started practicing immigration law during the George Bush administration in 2001. So I've practiced under George Bush, under Barack Obama, under Donald Trump, Joe Biden. And each one of them has tackled immigration in a little different way. The one thing that has remained a constant is that comprehensive immigration reform has never been achieved, has been attempted a few times, but nothing really has come in play. And that is one of the main things that we need. So we'll see. We'll talk about that some more. If you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, please do so. I post on LinkedIn things that I don't send on the emails, and it's just sometimes faster to do it that way. So you can use the scan here, scan my QR code and connect that way. I've always do this at the beginning of the presentation. I want to kind of get a feel, and you get a feel for what do you feel like, how do you feel about the impact of the presidential election on immigration? Are you anxious? Very anxious. Give yourself a 10. Give your a 1 if you're very calm. Oh, another day in paradise. I actually was on the initial call with a client just, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, foreign national from India who has been in the United States for I want to say about 15 years, maybe 12. And he was as calm as it could be. We were doing a change of employer. So he's on H-1B, and he was transferring his H-1B from his current employer to our client. Has an I-140 approved, so he's already in his way to a green card process. And he was just very calm through the whole conversation. It's like, yeah, I know it's going to take time. I'm okay. And I was like, wow, very cool. That has stayed in my mind because I was like, we all need a little bit of that calmness. It was really cool. So for you all again, going back to this, just kind of tell me, okay, so some of you, okay, anxiety is, I mean, and I think everyone is to some degree as to what what the impact of this is going to be. So keep that number in mind. Hopefully, my whole goal again is, if nothing else, when we have knowledge is power, and that you can use that knowledge to decrease the anxiety for you and for others that are going to be coming to you for advice. And a lot of the HRs, TAs, and in-house counsels that we work with, it may not be your anxiety, but maybe the anxiety of others that come to you. So let's talk about all of that and work on it. So again, past, present, and future. The last main comprehensive immigration reform was in 1986. So it was IRCA, Immigration Reform and Control Act, that was passed under the Reagan administration. And we're still living with that law today, and nothing significantly has passed since. Just imagine, if you go back to 1986, how much our world has changed. Amazon, the iPhone, Netflix, none of that existed back then, but immigration hasn't changed. So, just for the purposes of this discussion, and even for the many things that we work with you on immigration, it's a different world. Many of you, when you talk to me, I said that our immigration, our government lives in a bubble. They have no real understanding of the world that we all live in sometimes. And this is one of them, a major one, that should be, and it is of national interest. And eventually, hopefully, we'll get there. But what IRCA did, and you hear this in the news, about the many undocumented immigrants that are living in the United States, and providing amnesty and this and the other. Well, what Reagan did in 1986 was that, and it was approved by Congress, signed by the president. He legalized, and you may remember this, legalized the status of 2.8 million undocumented immigrants that were living in the United States. There were very specific guidelines as to who could adjust status under this. So it wasn't like, okay, you're here undocumented, you can do this. They had to pay fees, and fees are almost fines. There was a lot of things that they had the filings were very big in terms of who could apply. So it wasn't just the fact that you were here in the United States. And of course, there was a lot of, people that said this shouldn't happen, this, the other. But today, those 2.8 million people are out of the shadows and are assimilated into our economy, into our country, and continuing to contribute to our world. So to me, that is an example of what could be done right. Then as a result, of course, it was a balance. Congress and the president, you couldn't do one thing without balancing it with something else. So that was the birth of the I-9 form that we also love today. Came out of 1986. Out of this, okay, so we're legalize this 2.8. Well, we're going to now make some adjustments and more enforcement on the employers to prevent this from happening. And then, of course, at the time, there was also increased border security to prevent future immigration. So this is just an example of what has been done and has worked. Impact of IRCA today, again, we have the Form I-9. We have that, it set a precedent for the balance between legalization and enforcement. Again, assimilation of 2.8 million individuals that now, again, are paying taxes, are working, are contributing, and also exposed border control issues. That was, the continuing debate of border control has, I'm sure it was before 1986, but it's an ongoing issue. What we need for future, totally, we need modernization of the illegal immigration system. Like I said, 1986 was the last time, and that wasn't a comprehensive immigration reform. That was just touching on some major areas that needed adjustment at that time. We need balance of the family and employment-based immigration systems. They're very different in many, many ways. Increase the work visa, and mostly here talking to our employers, increase the work visa caps, as you all know, that have been through the H-1B visa process, and processing times to meet labor demands, and an employer-centric immigration reform. Streamline the process, cut out the bureaucracy, help us retain top talent. Some of you also, and some of you may have received this already. This came about, this is the Key Immigration Terms Guide. This came about from another webinar that I did, and HRs, in particular, HRTA, really value the information that was provided, that is included in here. So if you do not have a copy, you can go ahead and scan this and grab your free immigration terms guide. Very simple, but it's terms that I assume people know, and they don't. So it's very helpful for you to understand the lingo. Again, this is another little bonus for being here with me live. Okay, so Trump first term policies, and this is objective. This is what we live on a day-to-day basis during those 4 years. Restricting access to legal, and I'm going to emphasize this, legal work visas and green cards. Fostering of the culture of no, and longer processing times. If we think that we have long processing times right now, which we do, the processing times were much longer. I don't think I remember seeing a premium process case that was actually premium process in 3 or 4 or 5 days, which sometimes we do now. We would be waiting until day 13 or 14, almost waiting to get a request for additional evidence, not even an approval. So longer processing times in that regard, and also just regular processing times would be even longer. Travel bans, many of you would remember this, targeted based on nationality, country of origin, employees stranded abroad. Typically, work visas approval rate is in the over 90%. During the Trump days, we saw 81.9, and this is statistics again that I've taken from USCIS. So, significant decrease, 20% lower than 100. Also reduction on the green cards that we're being issued by about 18%, on work visas, about 28%. And what is fascinating to me, it was minimal decline on illegal immigration. There's a lot of talk about, the border wall and the border control and who's doing what and who hasn't done things. Well, the illegal immigration, the percentage of people in the United States during the Trump administration diminished very, very little. But the impact on legal immigration was huge. So, food for thought. Biden administration, we saw a reversal of many of the Trump era immigration restrictions, because what he did during, and every president has the ability to do this, there is a lot of immigration law that is based on memos and not necessarily a changing of the law. So the president can encourage, persuade a certain practice and certain memos to be issued that direct how the adjudication process goes without changing the law. And that's what happened. Now, when Biden came as a new president, well, he had also the right to reverse many of those memos, many of those policies, which was a breath of fresh air for the immigration. And I mean, I'm only speaking here on what we saw in immigration. I'm not talking about the impact on the economy. I'm not talking about a whole bunch of other things that each president has had an impact on, and I want to make that very clear. I believe immigration should not be a political presidential campaign issue. It's a national issue that we need to solve, but it has been made a political issue, and so that's part of why we're having this conversation. They did reduce the pandemic backlog. We still have a huge backlog, but the pandemic backlog was reduced significantly. Created or tried to balance the legal pathways with humanitarian priorities. So again, there was continued processing delays across agencies. Still today, we're still seeing significant issues at the consular posts that were non-existent before, and now literally I have right as we speak, we have a client, this hasn't happened in years for us, but it is happening right now. We have a client that's been in Panama for over a month and a half now, and we're in communication with Senator Rubio, we're in communication with the embassy, and it's like speaking with to a wall. And then something else that Biden did that was also a breath of fresh air. They reinstated the request for evidence requirements as the RFE before issuing a denial. What happened during the Trump administration is he passed a memo or a process or procedure where they didn't have to send you a request for additional evidence. If an adjudicator felt or was pressured to issue a denial, that's what you would get, not an opportunity to respond to why, the case should be approved. And that has been taken away. And that's what we've lived with for the last 3.5 years. So proposals. This is what we have heard from the Project 2025 and beyond. So emphasis on immigration causing violence in U.S. towns. As I watch the news, that is the main thing that I hear. And sure, there is immigrants that come to the United States and create chaos, and they should not be here. And we should not allow them in, and we should kick them out if they are here. But that is, I think that is blown out of proportion. Again, my own experience, I have not heard, and this is me, I have not heard about the good things that immigrants do for the United States. And in fact, our former First Lady, Melania, is an immigrant. And for the life of me, I just cannot understand why we don't hear about all the good things that immigrants bring to this country. So, emphasis on immigration costs, this is the rhetoric, causing violence in the U.S. towns, pledging the largest deportation effort in U.S. history. I mean, I just get goosebumps just like how and what would happen to this country, because even many of those undocumented that are here are working. They would love to have employment authorization documents. They don't want, and I have spoken to many of them just as part of my profession. And we don't, that's not the work I do. I've made a commitment to focus on corporate immigration. That is what we do best, and that's what we want to continue to do. But of course, a little bit of everything trickles into our practice. Not that we handle those cases, but we do discovery calls and whatnot. And many of them are not here because they want a green card or because they want naturalization. They just want to work. And many of our employers want to hire them. So restricting or reinstating a strict border policies and focus on deportation as the solution to immigration. What I foresee an impact on corporate immigration, in the first term, they had, I would almost say, a year of, out of the 4 years, the first year was a ramp up period. They had an idea as to what they wanted to do with immigration, but it's like anything else. They were just trying to figure out who do we have to talk to, what can we do, da da da. So there was a ramp up period before we saw a significant impact. Well, there will not be a lot of ramp up period here because they basically were, after 4 years, they were told you're out of here. We don't, we need a different precedent. So those plans are there. They're in play. They're ready to be rolled out. So return to the culture of no for legal immigration, longer processing times, RFEs and denials, increased processing costs because everything, all of that costs money, and more strict vetting. The other thing that the prior administration was very strong on eliminating DACA. This is the child DACA, anyway, it's the dreamers. Kids that were brought to the United States when they were younger, and they've been here all their life. They've attended school here. In fact, just the other day, we got an email from one of our clients that had a DACA recipient working for them on an employment authorization document. And that person married a U.S. citizen, and there's a very little ways for a DACA to adjust status. So they're here in limbo. But some of them that are married to U.S. citizen and enter legally, even though they may have overstayed, they are able to adjust status and obtain a green card. So that's what happened to this person. And I was like, oh my gosh, the timing. So they did get a green card, and the timing was just perfect. Harris, her proposals, we haven't seen what she's actually going to be able to do. Support for legal immigration pathways, especially for STEM and agricultural workers. With this administration, we may see more increase in compliance and audits. So again, that balance. Expand legal immigration pathways, particularly STEM and international students, which that's something else that we saw a huge decrease on international students coming to the United States under the Trump administration. And it's strengthening and addressing the root causes of undocumented immigrants. Looking ahead. Oh, Danny, are you here? I didn't realize I was coming to this slide already. So I am going to let her do. So what we do is we do a raffle of those of you that are here. And I'm going to keep moving forward, and hopefully she'll put in the chat who the winner is of the book. and we'll go from there. So I'm going to keep going. Okay, on the chat, the winner is Sparsh Rastogi. Are you here? I hope you are. You should be. Tell me yes in the chat. Oh, okay. Fabulous. Okay. Awesome. So, okay, actually, you're giving me a yes for a few reasons. Okay, so it's Parsh Rastogi. You are the winner. Thank you for being here. And Danny, we'll circle back with you as to how to mail this book to you. Again, is my clients and those who have read the book said it's very helpful. So congratulations and thank you for being here. And then, yes, I can see some of you saying on the chat, because I was on this slide, give me a yes if this was helpful. And also, I mean, I'm sure you've had some aha moments already as we went through the presentation. So what I would like you to do, one, I don't have the slide, which I typically do, that says, okay, so tell me, how do you feel now in your scale from 1 to 10? So for your own sakes, hopefully you feel a little better, if nothing else, and I'll keep going here, you have a better idea as to where we are. And awesome, cool, perfect. And that is the whole idea, is to give you the power of knowledge. So what to do now? I would say, anything could happen in 2 weeks. Accelerate the mission critical transfers of foreign hires. Or foreign hires, I'm sorry. So if you have some people that are like, oh my gosh, this is someone that we really need to hire, or this is some whatever, sooner rather than later. Not that everyone is not important. I mean, I'm a true believer that everyone, and I say this to my team all the time, each one of, I am grateful for the diversity of opinions and personalities and backgrounds in our team, because that makes us so much more powerful. So, and each one of them brings their own shine to the team. And same for all of you at our workplaces. But there's sometimes that there's some mission critical hires or mission critical to whatever. So I would recommend that you go back and kind of look at those. This HRs, TAs, in-house counsel, you are the rock stars at this. The prepare your stakeholders for the uncertainty and unpredictability. Many of them, who knows, they're not here, or they may just be listening to the news, whatever it is. But prepare for uncertainty. It is uncertain as it is, but I mean, it could get worse before it gets better. If Trump is reelected, we should have longer processing times, more RFEs, more denials. And again, this is an immigration world. It could be fabulous for other things. So this is the balance. If we have a Harris administration, I'm not saying it's going to be panacea either. She's going to have a ramp up time too. She's going to have many, many interests that she's going to have to deal with. I foresee that if we see improvements in immigration, that will come with more auditing and more compliance. That's typically what happens. So keep that in mind. Adjust budgets for potentially some fee increases because of that. Either way we go, there could be some changes. And anticipate global mobility, travel disruptions for a little bit. If you are planning, have foreign nationals that are planning to travel abroad. If you're here and you're a foreign worker and you plan to travel abroad, let me also back up. Nothing really is going to happen until January. When the actual, exchange of power happens. So we have a little bit of a ramp up time, not a lot, but it's, keep that in mind. All right. Learning from the past, looking ahead, kind of what I started, the change, well, also something else that is really, really important, because we, those that are running for office, it sounds like they could just change the world by just, and they have a lot of power, but in terms of immigration, it requires congressional action in order to make any significant, like, big change. Like, so getting rid of all your, getting rid of the H-1B program, that a president cannot take their little magic wand and make that happen, okay? Now they can restrict who gets the visas and all that kind of stuff, and we've seen that before. But like huge changes, like getting rid of a visa category or getting rid of a certain type of green cards or whatever. Now DACA is not, it's not in, it was created in a separate way. So that's why they may have more influence on that. But just, again, just keep this in mind. It's not just the president. They can say whatever they want, but a lot of it requires congressional backup, okay? And Congress needs to get out of their behinds and actually take some action, because they have been doing nothing on immigration that is significant. So 20 years since the most significant immigration reform, even with the party majority, again, passing meaningful immigration reform remains uncertain because they're all using it for political reasons. And of course, I have to tell you this because I am so proud of what we do, what we deliver for our clients. So stay connected with an experienced and engaged immigration team. Hope that's us. If we're not, servicing you yet, we're not partnering with you. Just this week, and maybe it's just actually, we are having the sunshine before the storm to some degree. Literally this week, we have gotten a national interest waiver approval. Today, we got 3 green cards. Yesterday, we received an H4 to H1B transfer approval. It's just been absolutely amazing. I haven't had 3 days at the beginning of the week like this. So who knows? These are big cases that we just got approved in the last 3 days. I don't know. I hope that's a good sign to come forever. If you need help, again, this is learning or knowing is power. Some of you in the call are our clients, so not a problem. Reach out, send us an email. Let's schedule a call if you have some specific questions to talk about. If you're not, same, just send us an email and see if there is something that we can do to help with the planning and strategy. And that's kind of what we are here to do. Partner with us for your talent acquisitions and retention success. We do this with passion. We do it for our country. We do it for our clients. And we've been doing it for a long time, and it's not easy work, very emotional. You have to know the law, and you also have to be empathetic with the whole process. So that's what we do. And I'm, again, very, very grateful for all of you that are here with me and many of you that are our clients. I'm grateful. My team and I are grateful to support you, represent you. So thank you so much. I hope, this was not the most positive theme, but it's certainly something, like I said, it's important to know. And I'm grateful to all of you. Hope this is, helpful for your planning. Bring it back to your teams. Think about it. And I'll see you around. Reach out if you need help. We're here to help you. Okay? Bye, everybody. Take care.